Hello, it's the Friday Talkie. I've actually got some stuff to talk about today. First of all, I want to say a huge big thank you to everyone who did video responses to my Us Your Telly video. I'm working my way through watching all of those and leaving comments and stuff. I will watch absolutely all of them because I think it would be wrong to invite responses and then not watch them. I know some of the bigger channels do that, but I'm not one of those. So yeah, big thank you to all of you. You will have noticed I'm struggling to reply to comments on individual videos at the moment. There are just so many. So I'm not and will not ever do the whole ignore the comments. I read all of them and I reply when I can. And especially on the Friday Talkie, because I know it's, of the stuff I do, it's the most popular thing, draws the most comments, and I do try to reply to those as a matter of principle. So what have I actually got to talk about today? Okay, first thing I want to talk about is, it's not exactly a direct response to, but it comes from watching the video by Lawn Boys Post 1975. Unless we go next gen with, oh god, where the I've got to look at the title. Now I can't see the title. Pull this up here. Yeah, unless we go next gen, will games lack creativity? And this kind of got me thinking, and I totally understand what he's saying and agree with the points he made. But I'm going to tell you my view as well, because I kind of, it got a thought process going with me because it relates to certain things that I've been thinking and I'm doing and stuff. You'll understand in a minute if I can manage to stop waffling and actually say what I mean. Every generation of gaming hardware that we've had, it reaches a point towards the end of its life. The next generation is either just around the corner or is already out, where the developers, they do one of two things. Some developers immediately jump ship and move on to the next generation of hardware. They want the extra capability. And the ones who are left on the previous generation, they either churn out shovelware because they know they've got a dwindling market and they know they've kind of got the market fairly cornered. A lot of the major developers have moved on, so they're like, quick, while we've still got loads of customers, let's just churn out the rubbish. And you get a lot of rubbish. But also, at the other end of the spectrum, if you like, you get the developers who really push the limits of the hardware. Examples of this being Black and Shadow of the Colossus, something the Colossus, Legend of the, you know the thing, on the PS2. I've got it as well. I'll do a video of that one day. Fantastic game. And on the Mega Drive there was what's it, that treasure game thingy, Gunstar Heroes. You know, gets towards the end of the lifetime of the console, and by then the really clever developers who really want to push the hardware pull off some works of genius. So unless we move on to the next generation, will creativity fizzle out? Yes and no is kind of my answer to that. There will be an awful load of crap. It's happened every generation, right from the Atari through to where we're at now. There's going to be some absolute bloody awful rubbish coming out, but there will, I'm expecting at least 2 or 3 works of genius. Moving on to the next generation, creativity. Well, here's the thing, there are lots of developers who are saying, no, we need the new hardware, this old hardware is stifling our creativity. I call bullshit. Absolutely not. Here's the thing, every time you move up a generation, you have more of everything. More processing power, more graphics processing power, more memory, more storage. And to take advantage of that and to keep up with your competitors, you've got to make bigger games, more detailed, more complex. You need more programmers, more artists, more designers. You need more of everything, and that costs more. You've got to pay their wages. It's going to take longer, or you've got to employ more people. That costs more. So to commit to this, you've got to have a hit. It's got to sell, and it's got to sell by the bucket load. So are you going to take a chance on doing something innovative? I never know quite how to pronounce that. You know, something original and different from what everyone else is doing. Or are you going to do exactly the same as everyone else and just hope it's a little bit prettier and more interesting? Are you going to do another first-person shooter or another racing game? You're going to do what everyone else is doing. Originality and creativity, as the consoles progress, as they get more complex, as they get more powerful, originality and creativity are going out the window. All you can expect is more of the same, but a little bit prettier. It's like right now, the game I'm playing the most right now, and I am enjoying, is Skyrim. But it's no better than Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which I played on my PC. I mean, it's a good... is it a generation previous? Probably not. But anyway, it's the same game. You reach a point where you realise it might be a massive game, but you're doing the same thing over and over and over. And I've only been playing it a short while, but it is go talk to some people, find out what they want you to do. They either want you to find something or kill something, or whatever, find out what your next objective is. You go there, you fight a few animals on the way, you find out what it is you meant to kill or what you meant to retrieve or whatever, you do that, you go back to where you came from, you get your reward, and then you go and do something else. And every now and then you'll kill a dragon. And that's it. Conversations change, scenery changes, but basically it's just the same thing repeated over and over and over. That is obviously simplifying it, but the only reason I'm enjoying it is because it's so damn pretty, and I just spend a lot of time like, wow, look at that, that's so cool. But it'll reach a point where the prettiness will stop impressing, and the bare bones of the game will be all I'll see, and then it'll just sit back on the shelf and won't get played again. And this is where gaming is going. As the hardware progresses, you get to see what's happening, that they're churning out the same old thing. So what do I think would help creativity? Where is a better direction for gaming to go if you want originality? Interestingly, I don't think it's going forwards. I don't think it's buying a more powerful system. I think it's buying a less powerful system. And why the hell would I say that? Apart from the fact that I'm a retro gamer and I like the old stuff. That's not actually the reason. There are 3 pieces of hardware at the moment that I'm finding interesting. The Ouya, we don't know what's going to come out on that yet. But it's interesting. It's an open platform. It makes me think of the Amiga. There was lots of rubbish churned out on it because it was an open system. But there were some works of genius as well, and creativity by the bucket load, regardless of quality. Quality was variable, but very often, largely, it was free. So it didn't matter. You'd try it out. If you didn't like it, you deleted it. And I'm... Raspberry Pi. Okay, last week's Friday Talkie, I was sitting there and basically bitching about how irritated and annoyed and frustrating I found it. And there are still aspects of it. Update here, really. I have got it online. Finally. 3 of my Wi-Fi dongles I tried on it, none of them worked. It had no support for any of them. This frustrated the crap out of me. I bought one. I bought one with a pre-configured SD card that had all the drivers and everything on it already. And all I had to do was select my Wi-Fi signal and put in my password. Hey presto, it worked. I plugged in a new wireless keyboard and mouse. They work, and I can use them from across the room. I've got it sussed. I also, there's another downloadable manual done by, what's his name? Eben Thingamajig, whatever his name is, I can't remember. The guy who designed it. He's done a manual. And it is very, very, very useful. I actually understand a great deal about how to use it now. There are aspects of the Pi that I still find backward. Use of the command line for doing all kinds of stuff, including downloading and installing software, I find backward. The argument being, but it's got such limited resources. You've only got 256 megs of RAM crammed, and split two ways for memory. So effectively 128 meg, depending how you split it. So limited resources. We can't use a graphic user interface for a lot of this stuff, and you have to use the command line. I call bullshit on that. I used my Commodore Amiga to go online 15 years ago. And I only had 6 megs of RAM, and I had a graphic user interface on everything. Now I know ARM chips, being RISC-based, their code is bigger and takes more memory, but really, no. If a 68030 powered Amiga 1200 can with 6 megs of RAM get me online with a graphic user interface for everything, I don't for one moment believe that the Raspberry Pi can't do that. It's geek elitism. They like that it looks like a 70s computer, and they want to keep it that way and keep it among themselves. This will change. It will. More people will develop for it, and graphic user interfaces that work and are reliable will be developed, and it will get easier for everyone else. It's just that at the moment it's in the hands of uber geeks who like that 70s feel. But all of this aside, I've probably just offended loads of people who will tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and they might be right. This is just my perception of it. But anyway, all of that aside, having got the thing online, I've gone and had a trawl through the repositories, which I find great. I like having a repository. It's just like, open up your shell window, whatever you want to call it, terminal, search this place where they store all the software, and there's tons of it, and it's free, and you just gotta, the download and install procedure are all part of the same thing. You type out this command. I'd love to just click a button, but no, you've got to type it, and it installs it. It does it all for you when it works. I know it's not going to work every time. Different people have different configurations, and some things will need sorting out in ways that I just don't understand. But anyway, all of this reminded me of back in my Amiga days. Here was all this software, and there are games. There are tons of games. Yes, there are emulators, but there's original stuff as well. And I played this thing called Penguin's Puzzle. You can actually play it on your browser on a normal PC. If I remember, I'll put a link to it. And it's cool. It's great. It's like entirely homebrew. It shows to a degree what the Pi can do. It's going to be a good piece of gaming hardware. It's not going to be up to the standards of the modern stuff, but it's an open system. Anyone can do it. Creativity and originality will not be stifled by the pressures of a huge big market where money is what it's all about. So yeah, I think the Pi has a lot of potential and could, if you want originality, could be one direction to go in. One Direction, God. Can't believe I even had that in a sentence on one of my videos. God awful band. Anyway, moving on. There, that's just upset every single 14-year-old girl on the planet. Never mind, they won't be watching this video. The other thing that's got my interest at the moment, and I've said for ages, I don't like pads. I don't like touch screens as a form of interaction and control for video games. But the Nexus 7, I've been watching videos, and in particularly videos by Pocket Mego. You can hook up via Bluetooth conventional joypads. Great. I haven't got a Nexus 7, I can't currently afford one, but I want one. Anything that takes its naming idea from Blade Runner is a good thing in my book. I mean, in terms of power, it looks impressive, somewhere slightly above the PS2. below the PS3, but to have all of that in one small, self-contained thing that you can cart around. I mean, this is portable gaming. You can shove that thing in your man bag or your handbag or whatever, and it'll fit, and you can have a joypad if you want to. It impresses the hell out of me. It's an open system. It's Android. I assume anyone can program for it. They've got their, I guess they've got their store, but I think it's more open than the Apple thing. I think this may be the way to go, because it's not a drive for more power. It's powerful, as far as I can tell, but they're not going for uber power. We've got to beat everyone else. It's like, here's an amount of power. It's adequate. You can do your stuff with this. It's good enough, and it's in an item that you can carry around. It's portable. It can do many things, and it can play good games. And the money, it's not all about the money. It's about versatility, and I like that. I dislike that it's all downloaded media, but if there are no restrictions on it, cool. It doesn't have all that stupid DRM rubbish. You can only put this on one thing nonsense. I like that. So I do think smaller, cheaper, less powerful, open platforms may be the way of the future. It feels like the Amiga did back in its heyday. You're not going to have the best graphics, but are you going to have some real originality? I think so. I think maybe. Is it a step backwards? It's a step sideways, at least. It's a step in a different direction, and that direction is not bigger is better, because, let me tell you, bigger is not always better. There are some companies, there are some countries that would do well to learn this. Bigger is not always better. Creativity matters. There we go. That's my ramble. I'm going to do some more pie videos. I'll talk about that in a bit anyway. I have a shout out. Let me turn the camera around when I find it. Here we go. Yep, glare on the screen. It's, I'm going to say, bright sunlight. It's not. It's probably going to be chucking it down very shortly. But anyway, yes, today's shout out is TheLimeyDragon's Den. Channel actually named TheLimeyDragon. I don't know a lot about this chap, except he's English, and you would expect that with a name like that. Piece of history. Do you know why Americans call the English limeys? It's because our sailors ate lemons to fight off scurvy, and they were mistaken for limes and not lemons, and so we got called limeys. But there you go, that's irrelevant. What does he do? Largely 2600 games. There are a couple of other videos here on other systems. There's one on the Mario Tennis on the Virtual Boy, and something here on some Linux PC. I don't know anything about that. Cube 2? I know nothing. But he's doing gameplay videos with commentary on the Atari 2600, and he's got a very his style is very, very, very English, and not your stereotypical English toff. This is your normal, I don't know if it's working class or English, working class or middle class, whatever. This is just your normal man on the street, chap down the pub, English guy. No nonsense, no pretensions, good sense of humour, intelligent, playing Atari 2600 games. And I like it. That's really, that's all that needs to be said. He plays them, sometimes he plays them well, so I don't know if he plays them all well. I've watched a few. Subscribed, I can't even remember how I found this channel. But what I've seen I like. And if you're interested in the 2600 and you're not familiar with all of the games that are available on it, this is a good place to find out a lot of them, whether they're good. Because, I mean, I had a 2600 back in the day, and by no means do I know or have I played all of the games. I'm finding that out with the TV Boy too. And there are lots of games here that I haven't played or seen. Many that I've heard of, but don't know what they play like. And it is, it's good. It's a great place to find out what they're like. His approach is refreshing and to the point. There is no nonsense. What you see is what you get. Well worth checking out. 30 subscribers at the moment. Wish I could tell you more about him. He comes from London. He's 26. He's been doing this, putting these up for about 10 months, I think it is. Yeah. Check him out. That is TheLimeyDragon. Okay. So I was going to say, what's coming up? What's coming up? More of the same. Actually, I mean, more of the same hasn't been more of the same, because I only actually put out one gaming video for the whole of this week. I've been kind of inspired with other stuff. Actually, I completely missed putting anything out on Monday. I can't remember what was happening on Monday, but I didn't have the time. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the joypad things, and the TV thing has been a pleasing distraction. Like I said, thank you to everyone who responded to that. This week, what have I got coming up? Well, Itchy-eye. Going to be another Skyrim video, probably out on Sunday. I'll probably upload it Saturday night or something like that. I'm gonna do something on the Raspberry Pi. I'm gonna show you not necessarily what I've managed to do with it, because I haven't done a lot. I'm going to show you how I've got it set up now. I'll talk a bit about the difficulties I had. I've spoke about that already, and how I managed to overcome them, and ways that I think make it easy to get into it. You know, if you're thinking of getting a Pi, I'll talk about pitfalls and solutions. And I mean, I can't give lots of advice, because I found out how not to do it. But I have managed to get the thing working a bit, so I'm going to talk about that. What else? Well, yeah, there'll be some gameplays, and there'll be some joypads, and maybe I'll throw in a system review if I can get my arse in gear. But you know, I'm not good at that, getting my arse in gear. I get sidetracked and do other stuff. So there you are. More of the same, in that it's none of what I say I'll do and all that stuff. Okay. Spider-Man's cool. Thank you for watching.